Welcome. Hello.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura.
I'm Ravina. Welcome to the Echoes and Embers podcast, where we host our soulful banter on the themes of life. Each week, we discuss an element, this week being air, and we're discussing intuition versus thoughts. But before we take flight, we will set the tone for our space, cleanse
Yes,
it, make it ours.
All right. We clear the noise. We keep the warmth.
We're here, you're here, and this space is ours.
What's true can stay.
The rest can go.
Let's begin.
Let's begin.
All right. So, Ruby and I just wanted to share some gratitude with everybody for tuning in and joining us for week 3. We really just
Week 3.
love sharing our raw, unfiltered chat, and we're not here to tell you what to do, how to live your life. We're just here to share our experience, our journey. A lot of things we mention and go over are just things that we found that have helped us along the way. And as we get into our topic today, thought versus intuition, just be mindful, see what sits right with you, see where it fits for you. So air is the realm of the mind and movement. Air governs thought, logic, communication, perspective. You connect through your breath and your inner stillness and being able to kind of correlate your thought with your intuition. And it is always a balancing practice. There is never a perfect day. Ruby and I can tell you that anytime, always, thought is structured, analytical, active, and your intuition is subtle, spacious, receptive. And, for the last decade, I can only think about all the times I've really tried to silence my mind to allow like my gut instincts to kind of direct me more. And, just with the influence of the world and media and just everything in our face, all the information we receive every day, it is just, imprinting our mind all the time. And you have to use your own personal logic to kind of decipher and make your way through that. And the beautiful thing is that we do have a gut, and we do have gut instincts. We have intuition. Like, our body is an antenna for energy, and we naturally can tune into that if we nurture that. And some things that I've found along my journey is taking time to be still with myself. And especially those days where you are just battling, say you're at work and you have all these different things and tasks and even other people's negative and energy thoughts coming towards you, and it's just you're trying to keep your shield up to keep their bullshit out. And you get to a point where their bullshit's and your bullshit, and it's stirring up your bullshit. And say bullshit one more time.
Bullshit.
And you just are stirred, and you're feeling a little unhinged, and like you just want to get back to yourself. And the best way to do that is just come home and just leave it at the door. And come home, grab a fresh cup of water, and just go sit with yourself for a moment, and like allow your mind to just kind of flush yourself out, like your thoughts out. And tune into what is your body saying, feeling, realizing what's not yours that you brought home with you during the day. The element of air really governs intellect, communication, and that's something we do every day, is think and talk.
Yeah. And people are, always influencing that stream because
we all have something to say.
Yeah, we all have something to say.
Got something to feel.
Sometimes sometimes you'll take what somebody else is saying and thinking that that's yours, and it's not. So that's where I think discernment is key, and doing those pauses to make space for your mind to be clear and to let your intuition speak on how to respond. So like when all that bullshit's hitting you, because I get plenty of it at work, I have to be responsible and take those moments, pause, decide, is what I'm thinking really what I'm thinking? Is it really,
How
you
you're
know,
feeling.
how I'm feeling? How do I want to respond to this right now? And it's a muscle that you build, and a muscle that, fortifies your connection to your intuition and your thought. So, you want to be, your gut is telling you, okay, I want to be somebody who, emanates peace and, you know, kindness and all of these things. And you'll get those like whispers of, all right, take a deep breath. But sometimes you can't because you're so reactive and your mind is just like trying to like dominate. That's
Everything.
where I think the whole key of like our of this conversation is like just understanding the balancing act between the two, because this is very powerful. This is what, we're constantly structuring our life around, is like what we're thinking and what we can produce and what we're doing. And this can get overpowered or shrouded or not
Well, yeah,
trusted.
we're also not taught to tune into ourselves and to listen to our body. And when you're not, checking in with yourself and stopping to see how you feel, and you're so overwhelmed with the thoughts, like there's no connection there. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's been moments in my life where I've been really fortunate that my intuition took over, or I've had a strong gut intuition to like not go into that place or stay away from this person, and been able to kind of learn and start to think about like, what is this, like what is how do I strengthen this, how do I continue this, how do I get more of this into my life.
Yeah.
um we're
Well, you
influenced
said
every
earlier,
single day. Go ahead.
you said earlier, shit, what did you say earlier? You, I just lost it. I don't
Lots of
know.
things.
You said lots of things.
Yeah. Well, just being influenced with our mind every day, like, we're staring at a phone, maybe a computer screen, interacting with so many different people. That is so much information coming into us. And when you're not stopping to relax and just like tune in with yourself for a moment, it is so easy to just get lost in that sauce. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like, you're used to being that 40-hour plus work week, and you're just, you have a job to do, and you're, you want to be good at it, and you have pride in what you're trying to do, and
I remember
don't
what it was.
your job doesn't want you to stop and think about it. They want you to go. What's that thought you had? Or I
It
had. You
was
had.
when you said, like, you were letting your gut, you were only, like, you were trying to shut your mind off so your gut would take over. The, I was in a place like that too. And I think that's really when we met, is when I was like, okay, I need to follow like my heart. I need to follow my gut. Where do I need to go? And I would not trust what my mind said because I was trying to, you know, unlearn. I wasn't paying attention to logic. You could pull that from our story about the pickup truck last week. Was it last week?
No, that
Or
was
no,
episode one.
that was that was episode 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that kind of thing where you're shutting your mind off to what's actually real and
Mm-hmm.
only trying to. But I think that gave us space to allow our intuition and strengthening that muscle to like be able to trust our gut, because we didn't before that.
Yeah.
When you were on your journey to trusting yourself, that's trusting your gut and like just seeing what's out there and kind of start new. And when we met, I think that is just kind of an important thing to reference, because the goal isn't to have your mind and your gut to be enemies. It's to really marry and harmonize them.
Mm-hmm. Is
Um,
to be able to still have that logic, but then also like allowing your intuition to have that space to meet your logic, and do they match? Are are your thoughts and your intuition matching?
are they
um
aligned so that you're
yeah,
moving in an aligned way throughout life, which is ultimately what we all want to do. That's what I
of
think that
course.
our main focus is as humans, like me and you, human to human.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what we're always talking about.
100%. I mean, every
Like,
day I think we bring to the table, like, man, I did this, and that, but this is where I want to go, and this is what I want to do. This is what I'm trying to strengthen in myself. And, Ruby and I try to work really hard on ourselves every day, but, me personally, something that I've learned that really has been helping the intuition, meeting the mind, is movement and being able to, like, kind of, when I'm feeling like overwhelmed with the thoughts and the like, I can't shake this off of me. Like, I have been getting outside and taking a walk, and I've even
so
been
true.
incorporating in like a speed walk just to like, come on, shake this. Instead of going into my
Yeah.
room and sitting and falling into a funk and then kind of putting myself back in that loop where I'm not trying to move past it and I'm not trying to let it settle on me. Movement's been a
That's really
really
important.
good, yeah,
It's
it's been a good, like, natural way of creating a flow, which kind of helps bring your mind and your body circling into itself. Because
yeah,
if you think about it, your intuition sits in your gut. So if you think of your gut as like a second brain, and then you have your brain up here that's producing the thoughts, like, okay, you have essentially two brains that give two, one a thought, one an intuition. They're essentially the same thing, just different positionings, and it's about the way you kind of like view it and how you can kind of like start to think about it that way, and it
you're
brings,
interpreting the signals.
yeah, and you can start like bringing in a matching tone to each other. It's kind of like creating a harmony inside yourself by finding that in yourself.
And I think too, like the whole, like what you were saying is like boom, 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 and interpreting the signals. Whatever filters you have up here are really going to skew that perception of how you're receiving that, like this signal. And you talking about movement. I mean, I just had an experience last night where um, it was the same situation but two different responses, right? One was stillness, which was what I participated in, and the other one was movement, where they're walking about and they're integrating what's happening by walking and kind
Mm-hmm.
of being out in nature. And two different experiences, which, and even like talking about it today, it's like an example that would help me through my restlessness and the more like mind activity and all of these emotions that are coming up as I haven't like been smoking to alleviate some of those pressures I was before. Exercise would help, which
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking about going to the gym, and I have the membership and I'm not going, and my like all I would need to do is just like show up and move a little bit. And before, me and Ashley, like, something that really helped us through the really hard times that we had while we were up in Alaska is um, just 20 minutes. 20 minutes changed our whole summer. Every day, of like whether that was us going for a jog, a walk together, like going up and down the hill, or going into like little gym and
Mm-hmm.
doing some reps. It made a huge difference. I mean, physically it affected us, obviously, but we were able to just like not be overwhelmed anymore.
Yeah, I feel like movement helps like integrate it into your body more versus just it's sitting on top of you.
And
And
then
then
it's up
also like
here.
and then it also like it brushes off what's not meant to stay with you, because it kind of just like helps you get out from underneath that pressure, and then like what stays was kind of meant to stay in a sense for you to either keep thinking about or to integrate more into your intuition feeling. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think something that was said to me too is, the whisper gets louder and louder. And the more that you know, activate what you think is being said to you through like your own inner knowing, and you're moving it through decisions like figuring out a career path, or like your mind is so overstimulated that you're just doing your speed walk and suddenly an epiphany hits you. Like, those are examples of how they're working together. And yeah, you're taking care of yourself.
yeah, I feel like I have a lot of like things come through when I get out from underneath those thoughts. And I
Yeah.
also get out from underneath the pressure of trying to feel it. And I pull back and try to like just honestly even change subject in myself of like, completely distract myself from that thought, or feeling, and then it just naturally comes back, and it's like it's matched itself, and it's like, okay, the thought's there, the feeling's there, and then that's the direction we're going.
Yeah, it's like you're putting your car in drive and your foot off the brake. Like you've got go in two directions. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
not one stuck. Because another thing is like, okay, you could think about this like feeling you have and not act on it because you're not trusting what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when like self doubt kind of creeps in and you have to,
Well, gaining your intuition is gaining trust for yourself and your
yeah.
mind. I feel like a lot of people experience like intrusive thoughts and other things that just kind of penetrate, that they are like, man, that's not me. Like, how do I get out from underneath that? And it is a challenge, and I think sitting down in moments like that, for me, sitting down and just kind of like trying to bless my mind from whatever it is that's just trying to come into my mind, like that could even be like, I don't want to go like, I don't even know how to like not go deep on that because that's a rabbit hole in its own sense.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but protecting your mind from like what doesn't belong there. And I personally, like, everyone's got their preference on like how they view life, but I just pray like over my mind to God, and like allowing like divine protection to be with me and over me, because there's just so many things that creep in and throw us off key. And there's just a lot of like really beautiful things and that kind of thing for me, like, kind of incorporating God's like protection over my mind, especially in a world where things aren't necessarily always for you and about you, in a sense of like, just certain things like I don't know how to not go in a rabbit hole on this topic
Yeah.
sometimes, because there's just so much to it, and just being able to weed out what's not necessary for you. And your voice and your words are power, and you're putting your words and protection over yourself, like however you view it, in a high protective way, is going to create that protection for you to keep out those like intrusive thoughts or those overwhelming thoughts, and to kind of bring you back into your body.
One
um
thing that you could say too is just like, I trust my gut, I trust my mind. It's as simple as that.
yeah, for
You
sure.
know, where you can kind of rebuke the anything that you don't
Hmm.
want around, or your own negativities, or because that's really what I feel like most people are battling, is like they indulge in stuff or make decisions that they don't have to think about what's happening in their head, and they can be
Hmm.
distracted. But the clearer and more control that you have over your mind, like the more clarity and control you have over your life. That sounds so like cliche and weird, but
No, you're
it's
you're
true.
right on you're right on it with that. You really, if you can get your mind right, you get your body right. Those things
Yeah.
work in such a harmony together that you literally almost don't even need to force thought or force intuition. Like, you are literally just like being navigated by your body and your mind, like
Yeah.
working together.
And
Um,
you become just kind of like the vessel for your best life. Like
yeah.
you don't have all this stuff like
Well, that also
congested.
it also goes into like people like going with the flow. That's essentially like you're creating your flow by like getting right with your mind and getting right with your body. And
Mm.
things that to get right with your body, we touched on movement. We've touched on water in a couple previous episodes, and then just like choosing better quality things to put into your body, like
Yeah.
choosing the broccoli over the chips. I don't know. Like,
Or
nobody's just
like
gonna go steam some
those
broccoli for a snack, but I do. Like,
I do.
sometimes, like, I really do. Like, I'm trying to make wiser choices for myself, because I'm really trying to set myself up for long-term success with just
Yeah.
whatever it is that I am going for. And I'm at a place right now where I'm really learning how to fuel my body properly. And I have noticed, the last, I think I'm on 6 weeks now of just whole foods eating. And that is basically like whole grains, clean meat, vegetables, fruit, and sticking towards that kind of thing. Yes, I have my occasional fries. Who doesn't love a good French fry?
Who doesn't love them?
But I'll say I've just this kind of just came to me a couple days ago. I was like, wow, I've not, my intrusive thoughts are down, my anxiety is down, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I also have not been smoking pot. I'm going on 2, maybe even 3 months now of not smoking.
Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was an organic thing that happened for me. I just kind of was like, nah, I'm good, you know.
Yeah, that's how it happened for me too. It really did. I just was like, I've been thinking about it for a while, and then
Well,
I was really actually kind of. Go ahead.
No, I just, we're growing up and making better decisions and choices. And I feel like when you get out from underneath, like, the consumption of life, and you step and you turn and you look around you're able to, like, see things for what they are almost. And, by fueling my body with, like, better quality things, like, I've been eating higher protein, I've been moving more, I've been just really trying to keep my mind clean. It's so easy to fall into that. That is still a practice I will probably practice every day for the rest of my life, just keeping my mind clean. But I will say the clean eating has seriously strengthened my intuition. So, like, I will say just a little generic thing here. I've been having some interactions with somebody who's been making me feel really negative and having negative thoughts towards that person. And my gut is like, yo, be quiet. That's not necessary. Stay in tune with yourself, stay true to yourself, and don't allow that bullshit to creep up into your mind, And I practiced that really hard today because I've been feeling just some weird, like, just trying to keep that balance, because I am trying to attract good things with myself, and I'm trying to fill myself with good things, so I am putting out good things. And that's how I'm trying to fuel my life right now. It is a constant battle, and don't let that word constant feel overwhelming or unmanageable, because it is manageable. Because every day when you take a step towards fueling yourself and taking care of yourself, it literally creates such a, like, substance that you can keep, and, like, a motivation to keep going with that. And I mean, right now I'm 6 weeks in on taking care of myself a lot better than I have, and I'm feeling it. I'm really finally feeling some mental results with that. And, I've been experiencing anxiety heavy for the last 3 years, and to wake up and not feel those, like, pounding thoughts, even in my chest and in my mind, has been brought a lot of, like, oh, keep going, girl. You're, like, doing the right thing for yourself, like, a little tangent there, but
No, it's good. The whole
taking the
point of,
steps
like,
for yourself, and, like, that, it literally, my intuition feels sharper, my mind is feeling sharper. And it was easier for me today when I was feeling overwhelmed in the thoughts and in the heaviness to just be like, sweep. So that was a good little show and tell for myself today to experience,
yeah, no, it's good. I have been like, I fueled up the fridge with a bunch of stuff. The
Yeah.
reason why I'm also like, I bought so much stuff, I don't want it to go bad.
Dude, I feel that.
Yeah, I've been taking my lunchbox to work this past week with, I've got like half a cucumber, I cut up an apple, I've got a handful of walnuts because that's brain food. I've got
walnuts are amazing for the brain, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, and it really is. And a mandarin and a handful of strawberries. So I've been nomming on that. Like, as once I get to work, I sit at the computer, I'm there, and then I'm just like munching as I'm checking in with my boss. And
dude, I've been doing the same. I sit in front of a computer and I'm making sure that I am packing filling foods. I'm watching people around me bring in the fast food and the soda, and they're not feeling like, they crash in the middle of the day. And I'm like,
and it's like,
that's okay. Like, everybody has to go
too.
through that experience to be able to get over that experience. You know what I mean? Because you come to a point in your life where you're like, I want to be better. I want to do better. And,
Well, one of the things is just even the decision to, like, fuel yourself anyway, because a lot of times I'll just get up and I'm like, I got to go to work. And then I'm maybe drinking my tea and not eating anything until lunch. And that you have to, like, you talk about fueling yourself. You have to fuel your brain, because what are you operating off of? You're operating off of the fat in your body that was stored from the Fritos you ate 6 months ago. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, you're talking about, like, mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
It's that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, proper fuel into your body, like your body, your gut, your stomach, where your intuitions sit, like you literally have nerves that connect up into your brain and like fuel your thought, you know? So when you're taking care of your gut and, putting the good things in, that's gonna, go right back up into
Well, it
the
also
thought.
makes your body relax. Like
For
if
sure.
you're,
You can handle all that shit coming at you easier.
yeah, because you're eating stuff that has magnesium and protein in it. Your body's just like, all right, cool. I'm not like having to dip into old stores or whatever, and you're like internally stressing your cells out, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're like sitting there trying to solve a problem, and you're having an off day for other reasons. Yeah,
No, it supports
it's
you. It gives you like great energetic support there, honestly. Like if we want to talk
yeah,
about energy and frequency, like you're boosting your frequency there by putting in high quality things. And that
yeah,
high quality doesn't even mean organic. Like organic's kind of woo woo anyways. Like is it even organic?
yeah.
What is organic? So it's
I
like,
don't know. That's a whole
right?
topic.
It
Like,
really is.
yeah,
That's why I've been going based off of like whole foods, things that are not processed essentially, and more like
yeah,
whole quality. So think of it as that way, like just whole quality things. And I mean,
yeah.
dude, you can find any substitute for anything budget friendly, and I'll say that because I'm balling on a budget all the time. So
Same.
word, and we keep going.
Yeah, we
Like
do. We
if you have
do.
a will, there is a way to make it happen for yourself.
Also,
And
if you're eating higher quality stuff, higher quality in terms of like whole foods, you have less of an appetite because you've nourished
100%,
yourself differently. So,
100%.
you eat a lot of empty calories and you're just going to be like, give me more pasta, which I am a pasta eater. Okay. So,
We all
yeah.
love it.
We love
Honestly,
the
I'm
pasta.
a pizza person. I love some bread and
Oh
sauce
my
and
God.
cheese.
I know. Ugh.
uh, Ruby and I
Yeah,
are
I just,
foodies. We love to
we
talk
really
about
are.
food. We love to text about food.
We do
We love to
send
cook
pictures of our
together.
food all the time.
Yeah, all
Yes, we
day.
do. We really
You
do.
know, yeah. But just to get back on a little bit deeper topic of air and governing thought versus intuition, like there is a metabolical way to create harmony between both, and fueling your body properly fuels your thought properly.
Yeah.
um you know
It's not all just about like what we're listening to inside ourselves with like inner knowing. It breaks down into practicalities because we're a body, we're a vessel, we're something that has to be fueled to think right. When you're I mean,
and
just think
feel right.
about when, yeah, and feel right.
And
Think about when you're drunk.
that's a double right there. Like you're fueling to feel, and then also like you're fueling to know, in a sense. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yes, when you're
Like
drunk, like how shitty do you feel?
you're putting something in, right? And then it's creating a reaction. It's making you feel your emotions, and then you think differently and you act differently. So if alcohol is just one very obvious example, the food is another that is a little bit more subtle. But it's hard because food, there's addictive qualities in foods, and we relate like how we're eating with our emotions. And you know when you're having, it's easier to get stuck in a sad loop in your mind thinking about how things are so hard when you're like, you know, just kind of binge eating your comfort foods like I do. It's like
Hey,
sit
you're
on
not
the
alone.
couch.
Like you're not alone.
I know we all do it. That's why I'm bringing it up, because it's like I'll sit on the couch and eat a big bowl of pasta. It's just butter noodles and Parmesan cheese, baby.
Oh,
Like bring me a whole pot,
yeah,
and
and it's
then I'm like
it's
feeling like shit the next day.
yeah, it's my off night. I'm off tomorrow, and I always love to stay up a little later, have some good snacks, have a good meal, and feel satisfied because I've emotionally satisfied myself through what I'm eating.
Yeah,
And I've been really good at not doing that. I did not buy the shitty food tonight when I was at the grocery store. So
that's
I'm
your
happy. I bought some freaking chocolate covered yogurt bar, which is actually
hell yeah.
delicious.
That
It's
was
super
sounds
good.
so
Super
good.
good. And it tastes like a cheesecake, like chocolate. It was so good, but high protein. Like I'm trying really hard. I'm 34. I'm taking care of myself, and I'm doing better for myself. And
Hell
that
yeah.
is how I will live for the rest of my life. Every day being better than who I was the day before. And you know,
That is mindset. That is action
that is my mindset.
embodied.
I'm not on a
Yes.
diet. I am in a lifestyle change right now, and I am
Yes.
flowing through that shit. You know,
And I feel like you're flowing through it really well. Sometimes it's harder because you're just trying to force it, and you're like, you know.
Well, that's the nice thing about like coordinating and feeling your body properly and like touching back on flow happening for you. Like when you get yourself in a rhythm or a ritual of doing something, it just organically happens for yourself and you it's like it just I'm trying to make this like a second nature, like, you know, my being in a sense of like just naturally gravitating towards the better, wiser option to everything.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I
that
think
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that it flows into how we use our intuition and our thoughts creatively, because you start to create in the kitchen. And sometimes,
One of my
okay, here's
favorite
an
things.
example of like, right? So you're at the grocery store, and for some reason, you're looking at a sweet potato. You're just like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I gotta buy that. And you go for it. And then it kind of like, if you give in to that moment, it like leads you and shows you the next step. And then if you, I like to play this game with myself all the time. So okay, here's an example, like the sweet potato, and then you're like, oh, you look, you scan left and right, and you kind of wait for the ping, right? Oh, pumpkin seeds. All right, cool. I don't know why I want pumpkin seeds, but I'm going to grab those. All right, you scan again. Golden beets. All right, this kind of matches the colors of. That's how we used to shop too. Is like colors in
Mm-hmm.
the basket, right? Okay, now we
Yeah.
got some carrots. Now what you're looking at, you look at what you got. What could all this be in? An example would be soup. Now you're in the aisle with the broth, the chicken stock. Okay, I got some chicken stock. Cool. What else could I add to this? What would be interesting? I don't know. What about the herbs? All right, some rosemary, some
Oregano.
thyme, right? Like it,
Yeah.
it just kind of like,
Starts
and
pulling itself together.
yeah, and you have to also trust that like you don't always have to pull a recipe. Like the more you engage with certain things, and also say you're an enthusiast for like cooking, and you know what naturally goes together, you kind of just trust it while you're at the store, and like let your hands and your body kind of do the work for you, instead of thinking so hard, or I have to pull up a recipe, I have to figure out what I want to have for dinner. Like you don't just kind of show up like you suppose, like you should just show up to the gym, and then your body's naturally going to tell you what you want to do. Am I just going
Mm-hmm.
to end up in the sauna? Am I just going to end up on the treadmill? Am I going to do some reps? Am I feeling that? That's the same thing as like if you go into the grocery store and you acting on those intuitive pings of like, okay, what do I see that appeals to me? Because it's like also the whole thing of like gathering, right? Gathering, hunter gathering things. You're looking and scanning your environment, which is our modern day grocery store, of what your body needs at the moment, and that's something that's intuitively speaking to you, making you think the thought to grab the thing and to create something that's going to nourish you. So that's
Mm-hmm.
like one kind of whole loop of what we've been talking about, and it can be fun
That's a great
because
example.
yeah, it's like no pressure. Like,
Yeah.
and then you
I didn't.
can, okay, say you have some things in your basket and you want a little help to take it that extra mile, then you can say, well, I have all these things. What should I make with it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't
Well,
feel
no,
as
that's
creative.
how I go to the grocery store. I don't go with recipes in mind. I don't go with meal prep in mind for the week. I go and what color is standing out to me the most in produce this week? What fruit
Yeah,
sounds the best? Like what also looks the clean, you know, looks the bright, you
nice or
know, I
good
let
or
my
in
body
season.
kind of guide me in the grocery. Like, okay, this week I'm going to buy 2 bags of the broccoli because it's really speaking to me. I guess I have a thing for broccoli, but
Broccoli's
um,
great. So
broccoli
good.
and the kids will eat the heck out of it, so I'm all about it.
I've got spinach in the fridge right now,
Dude,
and
I need to get
it's
some spinach. I've been feeling it. I don't really like spinach, but I've been enjoying it fresh and odd. Just tossing it in with some like quinoa, like while it's still like cooling down. It's super good.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I love it sauteed, but I've been eating it on these turkey sandwiches
oh
just
yeah, I've been
raw,
doing the same thing. Just to
like
add those,
nothing.
just to
Yeah,
add the
the
boost of
crunch.
greens. I even have the kids
Yeah,
interested in spinach on sandwiches because you just tuck it in and you don't even know it's there, but you're
no,
getting that extra like nutritional value in that sandwich, and they're like, oh okay, so.
yeah, yeah. It's true.
I
It's
got
super
them. I
good.
got them wrapped around that vegetable finger right now. They love like I'm like they want seconds on the zucchini. I'm like, heck yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't even
great.
have to ask you. I'm like, okay, but
Give me
it's
that
great.
good stuff.
Like,
Well, you're great at preparing vegetables anyway. Like it
yeah,
was
I've
so
heard
fun,
that
like
before.
eating. Yeah, she makes bomb
uh,
food.
yeah, everybody loves my cooking. I do, but I intuitively cook. I literally like I don't I even like my kids, they're like, "Can you teach me? Like, how do I learn how to cook?" And I'm like, "Shit, I don't even know. I don't even know how to cook because I just go, I see what I have, and I'm like, okay, that matches. That's feeling good. Like, okay, da 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 da."
That
And
might be a fun exercise with you,
but
like to
also,
just say like, "Hey, okay, this week, all right, we're gonna go grocery shopping. Pick like look at the pantry. Don't say anything. Look at everything that we have. Look at the pantry. Look at the fridge, and then point out what's calling to you. What do you kind of see that's like interesting to you right now? Maybe they
mhm,
point at the basil in the fridge or the whatever, and then you put your ingredients on the counter, and then okay, we're gonna go off of these things. So we'll
yeah,
take a picture of it, and then we'll go to the store, and whatever your call is called out, you're being called to, let me know, and
yeah.
then we'll start to like put things together, and that's how I cook. That's how you can learn how to cook.
Hmm.
That would be fun. That's a cool exercise.
I like that a lot, and that'll make them feel more included. That's a really honestly a fun little like family thing, especially if your kids love to cook. Like my oldest, she wants to get in the kitchen and learn, and the youngest,
Yeah,
he kind of starts and then he's like, whatever, this is
well,
Minecraft.
he's got a ways to go. He's got
Yeah,
a
my youngest is a
the
boy.
burnt
My oldest is a
brownies is what
girl.
I'm thinking
So,
about.
oh my gosh, he was so cute. A couple weeks ago, he wanted for the last day of school to bake brownies for the class, and he just his attention forgot about them in the oven, and they got crispy. But he said him and his friends still
Crispy.
they were crunchy. Like I
They
went
were
to go break
supportive.
one to see. Yeah, I was supportive as heck. But I was like, oh, that's cereal now. Like you need some real milk.
Oh,
You need some milk with that. But I was just
serious.
having this other thought while you were talking about that, doing that exercise with the family. I met a guy, he was at a farmer's market like years ago, and he made the best Indian food. And he only had like a curry dish and a saag paneer dish. And I was like, yo, how is this so delicious? And he told me the secret ingredient to anything you do, cook, interact, anything is literally like love and caring about what you're doing. And, I think that's kind of why my food tastes so good, because since I've like learned that, I have just let that marinate deep inside of me. And like everything I try to do, like even if I'm not even vocal about it or I look like I got a grump face, like I still love you through my actions. And I pour that into my food. I pour that into just every aspect of the meal I cook or my actions for people. Like sometimes I'm not very good at being vocal with my love, but my actions are always on point. My mom always said that about me. She was like, "You don't like to hug, but darn, your actions really speak for themselves." Or
They really do. They
yeah.
really
So
do. You're very thoughtful and intentional with what you show up with.
yeah. And it's all because of that guy at the Indian stand. He literally said, like, just do everything with love, cook with love, show up with love. And like that has just like, and I was so young and didn't even like have any idea what he was talking about. But it just like sat with me for years and years until really you and I got into the kitchen and we're like, oh, okay, yes. And Ruby and I used to really throw down in the kitchen. It was bright
It
and
was,
beautiful and
there was
delicious.
stuff all over the place. It
We
was so
were getting
great.
vegan before vegan was vegan. Like I remember
It's true.
we would spend like $60 on one meal for a little pizza that
Yeah.
turned out that big, but it was vegan
Yeah. It
or
was,
organic. We just we let our body guide us at the grocery
we
store, I
did.
guess.
And at the farmer's market, like
Oh,
we
dude,
were,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was cool because we did some bartering there.
Yeah. She used to
Which,
sling microgreens, and that
I
used to
did,
get us some
yeah.
good stuff back in the day.
I was a farmer. And it was
Bless you. Don't go sneezing into your microphone.
bless it. I feel like this is a good note to kind of wrap it on. We're talking
Yeah,
about love, we're talking about intention, and I think that
it all goes
you
with
know,
your intuition and your thought and just bringing it
yeah,
all back into yourself and honing into what you're organically feeling and tools to like create that for yourself, because it is not easy to sift through all this all the time,
No,
and it is not
it's
easy
not.
to always tune in and listen to how you're feeling. Like, it goes
No.
back into sitting still, checking in with yourself, getting some
Yeah.
movement, drink that cup of water, buy that
Mhm.
extra vegetable you're feeling at the store, tell yourself
Make
no
some
on the
weird
shit.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even if,
get
yeah, just
creative.
get weird with it. And I think one takeaway with like, some kind of positive mantra, right, would be just remember you always have your pause and your breath. Those
Mm-hmm.
are the two tools that I always come back to when I need space in my when my gut feels overwhelming or when my mind feels overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pause and breath, man. Key tools.
Key tools for sure.
We're very, and I think this was a really good lead in for our next episode because
Mm-hmm.
next week is going to be Earth and we're covering body as the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So, really like we've discussed a lot about how our microbiome impacts, our thoughts. It's our second brain. And, we've led into the kind of heady conversation that is intuition versus thought, and we're going to ground it into body further as we bring this
Mm-hmm.
conversation into the next.
For
So
sure.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's
And
gonna
thank
be
you again for
great.
sharing your time and your space with us.
Yes.
As always, you're welcome to reach out and interact, share some ways of your interpretation of your thought and intuition, or
Yeah,
even
send
if
us
you want
what
some advice on it, like, talk to us. We're open-minded people. We're down for it.
we are.
So,
We want to have the whole point of this is to just stir conversation.
open up
So
conversation into the community
yeah,
and between ourselves, and just share if you like. So.
share with us, talk to us, send us what you're thinking. What are you feeling?
Only nice thoughts, though. We don't
Yeah,
want
don't be mean. You
unless
will
it's.
be banished.
All right. Well,
All right,
everyone
we'll
have
see
a
you
great
next
week.
week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.